Dun, 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 dun. We're back. We're do that but better. Eric, how's it going?
It is going great.
How's
Sun's
the
shining.
weather out there right now? You say sun shining?
Yep.
Because I think the sun has left and it's pretty much done for the next 6 months, and it started
No.
getting cold. Like,
It is getting cold at night, like early mornings.
yeah,
It always bottoms out right about when I go out to work out.
okay. Like, what would you say? Uh, low. Like, what are the lows right now?
Right now we're hitting like 32-ish,
Okay,
right around freezing. So we got frost on windows and whatnot.
yeah, we had our
But
first
during
frost
the
the other day.
day, yeah, I mean it's still like 60s or 70s.
We're like having like highs of like in the 40s or so, which but I heard that it's supposed to be 70 this weekend, which is pretty awesome. But
Nice.
uh but yeah, here in the old Middle West, uh it's definitely starting to feel like fall. Speaking of
Yeah.
the other day, I was on a Zoom call and I was on a Zoom call with people like all over the country, and they're like, "Well, let's go over to the East Coast." And they're like, "Zach." And I was like, "East Coast?" I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." And I was like, "My geographical pronouns are Middle West and CrossFit North Central region."
Have you looked at a map
I
recently?
know. So, and actually, one time I was talking to Pat Barber like a while ago, and he said something about like, you know, way out east or East Coast. I'm like, "Do you know where we're at? Like, have you seen a map?" Which is also weird because then you go Midwest, and it's like, what do you mean? Like, we are a little bit right of center.
I was just thinking that the other day. I was like, that has to be like pre or like right after Louisiana Purchase,
Yeah.
where anything west of Lake Michigan was the Wild West.
Yeah. But yeah, it is sort of weird, and it will never change. So
Yeah,
don't call me East Coast.
yeah, seriously.
But
That's
yeah.
funny. I've seen a meme that says, uh, it says something like "War: How Americans Learn Geography," and we haven't had a civil war in a long time, so I guess
Yeah,
we've all kind of forgotten the geography of the U.S.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. So, well, like you were talking about, the weather's dropping. It's fall, and actually, we just had our birthday bonanza. Yesterday was
Yep.
our last of the crew. So Remy and Shane had their birthdays, but this time of year it gets a little bit cold, and for me, it gets crazy because in a 10-day span, we've got three birthdays for my own kids, plus we've got relatives and things like that, and it gets to be a crazy mess. And just with I mean, actually, if you think about this, so when the first kid has a birthday, is we might have cake in the morning, right? Then they might actually have their actual birthday party. Then the next one comes, and it's like two. You got six, like you got six birthdays 1 month. Then you throw in Remy, and it's like, all right, let's throw in another one, and then whatever else is going on, and then we've got Halloween coming up, and it's pumpkin spice. It's pumpkin spice time. You're gonna go to the apple
Yep.
orchard, and of course, at the apple orchard, you get donuts, right? We need to get
Donuts and
apple spiced
cider.
donuts. Yeah. And it gets crazy, and then we're going right into holiday season.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's brutal. The pumpkin spice, I just don't. It's not spice. Like there might be pumpkin spice flavoring in there, but it's
Hmm.
syrup. You're
Right.
just watch them make it. The big tub of sugary syrup that they squirt pumps of it in.
Yeah.
You could
What
just buy a shaker of pumpkin spice at the grocery store
what
and
is
shake
your
that.
what is your feeling on pumpkin spice? Are you a fan?
I
Uh
am a fan. I'm a fan of the flavor of
okay.
like cinnamon, nutmeg, clove. Yes, I do like it.
Yeah,
But it's a lie to call that pumpkin spice. It's a
I gotcha.
pumpkin spice flavored syrup drink.
That's a great point. So I guess maybe even just trying to use those flavors a little bit more in things without sugaring it up. By the way,
Right.
excuse me today. I just smoked a workout and I've got a little bit of a Fran cough. Dude, like I totally had it was like the world was caving in a little bit. My hamstrings were like just burning like 15 minutes after this workout, and I did not think that that was going to happen. And yeah, it's I've been I did that workout at 8:30 and
And you're still feeling.
I'm like man, like my throat, all kinds of stuff.
What
But
was
yeah,
it?
it was 3 rounds of 60 double unders and 30 deadlifts at 185. And
Pretty speedy.
I thought that that was going to be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get my heart rate up. I felt like I knew my hamstrings were gonna be a little bit lit up, but
Hmm.
man, it was I don't know. Maybe I just haven't gone that hard in a while.
Yeah. I had that recently too with it was Tabata. It was 5 Tabatas in a row,
Hmm.
and that was equally
Yeah, for
terrible.
sure.
Like even what that was on Friday and Saturday and Sunday and yesterday. I was still like trying to walk. Like my butt. It had, let's see, it was Tabata of dumbbell press, then Tabata jumping lunge holding dumbbells,
Mm.
and then Tabata ring dips, then Tabata walking lunges, and then Tabata push press with the dumbbells.
Oh man.
So my legs were crushed.
Heck yeah.
Yep, yep.
Well, anyways,
Head them off.
back to
Yep.
food, back to fall, back to the Midwest. But yeah, so going into this season, this is an easy spot for people to get really comfortable. You know, even it's cold, it's dark, and people want to stay in a little bit. And and we've referred to this before as bulking season. We're hibernating, but we don't have to,
Yep.
right? We don't have to like just go totally off the rails. So, in how do we keep fall um, fit?
Oh, like it. I think, well, the first thing I think is acknowledging it because I think typically we think of it's like, okay, Halloween, a ton of candy,
Hmm.
and then Thanksgiving, a ton of cookies and pies and whatever. But, like I said, these things sneak up right now. Like you said, going to the apple orchard, you start making apple pie or like baked apples. You start making pumpkin bread, and then like pumpkin bread is breakfast. It's like, no, that's actually cake.
Right.
Like all of these things, I think we just don't acknowledge it right away. That, yes, we're already in that season of baked goods that are full of brown sugar, everything. And, we think that we still got time until Halloween and Thanksgiving hit. But
Yeah.
really, as soon as they start selling the pumpkin spice lattes, it's game on, right?
Do
And so like it's time to focus on like what are my goals? What are, how have I been eating for success and how do I maintain that?
right. Yeah. And I feel like right now is a great time. That there are a lot of fantastic things that we can start having that are still in season, and we can even do some of these things in a more better way.
Yep. A
That's a
more better.
technical term. Yeah, more better. But yeah, all right. So let's even just break down some of these, like so some of the things that we're going to be seeing in these next couple months.
Well, like I said, I mean, like pumpkin pie, apple pie, all the drinks. So the pumpkin spice latte gets the brunt of the of the hate. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's like
Well, you know what?
apple cider drinks and all kinds of stuff with that too.
Well, and all right, you get your pumpkin spice lattes or whatever, and actually, do you? Because I don't really do many of those. I probably used to, but what do you have any of those drinks? And are you able to
Yeah.
do them in a better way?
I've never really had those, or like really gone out to buy those drinks.
Yeah.
We'll make some like apple cider,
Mm.
or we've made glug,
Oh yeah.
something like that. Um, I'm trying to think of the one my brother-in-law would make. It's like apple cider. I can't think of it. It tastes like apple pie though. It's really good.
Huh.
But yeah, like those kinds of drinks where you can be. I mean, first of all, you know what's in it,
Right.
and uh, I don't know, you can be more careful with your serving sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that that's huge. Looking at these things as a treat. And so, when are you going to have it and how often?
Mm-hmm.
And then how much? Um, so, doing things like, using it for your special events. Hey, we're going to go to this apple orchard and we're going to have a donut. You know, I got six in my family, so we can get a half dozen donuts, and you might have different ones because there might be the apple spice, there might be the pumpkin spice, there's the whatever, and now sharing that as a small treat and
Yeah.
having, are you going to have some hot chocolate? Are you going to have some apple cider? But you don't need to come home with gallons of them because guess what? You can get apple cider any time of year, you know, or you could make it. And anytime that you're having juice in general, right? You are taking, like, think about the amount of food that it takes to make a glass of juice. And I totally remember grandpa, our grandpa had these juice glasses and they were about 3 inches tall. And uh, I remember when I first started working at 80's Dining Room and they had juice glasses just like that, right?
Hmm.
And that was what you drank juice in because, yeah, like one orange is going to give you about this much juice, so now let's put multiple of those in, right, to make a large orange juice. And it's
Seriously.
like, holy crap, how much food did I just get? And I didn't get the fiber in it, and I didn't get all this other stuff that would have been in the pulp, right?
Hmm.
And I remember him just saying, who can drink all that? And I was like, oh man, I could drink the crap out of that. I mean, I could easily down a gallon. And I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like juice goes down easier than water often. And I don't know why. But
Yeah.
you can
Totally.
really pack in a crap ton of calories when you're doing that. And not
Yeah.
only that,
And
just a crap ton of sugar.
yeah, that's the crazy thing. Especially, maybe if you're going to the apple orchard, it is more apple and less sugar and flavoring. But still, like when you're having juice, you need to check the labels
Oh
because
yeah.
I mean, obviously there's like freshly juiced on one end of the spectrum and high C or Sunny D on the
Sunny
other
D,
end.
the purple
Yeah,
stuff, Sunny D.
yep. Uh, so paying attention, and as we're talking about all these fall foods, even like um, when you get like the canned pumpkin, if you're
Hmm.
making a recipe, like you got to read those labels too, because
Right.
sometimes some of them don't even have pumpkin in them.
Yeah.
And then they've got a bunch of other flavoring or sweetener or whatever. So paying attention to labels right now because everything is pumpkin flavored, but you're not actually like you're not getting vegetables eating pumpkin.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting. I wasn't even thinking about that. And yeah, lots of times it feels really healthy to hear a vegetable is in this, and it's like, oh yeah, but it just sort of tastes. I mean, that's like having a banana Laffy Taffy. You're not getting any banana, you know,
Yeah,
and
right.
and yeah, sometimes just knowing that, and because you might not even think that it's healthy. Like if somebody asked you, "Is this healthy?" You go, "Oh, like probably not." But even just like the connotation,
Hmm.
without thinking, I think can easily put us into um, into like a complacency about, oh yeah, we got zucchini bread.
Right. Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. I'm like, this is zucchini?
Well hidden.
Yeah, for sure. But in the fall season, because it's harvest, um, it is a great time to start getting a lot of the in-season foods. So
Yeah.
getting pumpkin, getting squashes. Yeah, you're gonna get zucchinis and what are some other fruits and vegetables that we get now?
I mean, we've had from our neighbor who has a massive garden. We've been getting a ton of cucumbers and green beans.
Really?
All that stuff is cabbage. So all of your cruciferous stuff,
Yeah.
cabbage, broccoli, all that stuff, Brussels sprouts. Those
You
are all
actually get a
popping
lot
right
of
now.
people start hunting right now. So getting to make friends with people who hunt and get some good venison, some duck, and
Yep.
whatever else, geese,
Elk.
elk.
And
Yes, we don't
ask,
have too many elks here in the Middle West.
not by you, but asking for the stuff that they don't want.
Hmm.
Like, and you need to ask them now because if they are not a fan of tongue or heart or liver, then they're probably going to leave it or leave it with the meat processor.
Hmm.
But if you tell them, yeah, I'll take the organs, then you get a ton of free, super nutritious organ meat.
What's your favorite organ meat?
Either tongue or heart.
Really?
They're both like heart steaks are really good, um, but tongue is great.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, how do you prepare that?
The best way I've done it is in a slow cooker,
Hmm.
basically like you would do a roast, just with like potatoes and carrots and
Yeah.
onions, and then it's got like a layer, kind of like leather, is the outside. So then
Yeah.
you, once you cook it, you just split that open, and then all the meat's inside. So good.
Do you ever feel like you're just like French kissing an animal?
Yeah. That's
Interesting.
how I eat it though. I like hold the tongue.
I have it in a big chunk and that's pretty good. Yeah, I've never like so I've had tongue and it's okay. I've never made it myself, and I'm sort of interested in trying it different ways just because I feel like it was always just like it never made me go, "Ooh, I want to have that more." It was never bad,
Hmm.
and actually I have had heart. I had a heart sitting in my freezer for probably multiple years, but I was just too lazy to ever do something with it. As soon as it's frozen, I'm never touching it again. Like people are like, "Oh, just put it in the deep freezer." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that, but I won't eat it." It's like I need to do
So
it now.
you need to turn your freezer up above freezing so that it's
Right.
actually just refrigerator.
Yes, that's exactly what I need. But yeah, so getting some of the harvest foods, and I'll tell you what, one of the things that I love the most about this time of year is because you're staying in more, right? People just don't want to go outside. You're at home, you have more time to prep, right? You're not going to the beach, you're not whatever it is. So people are cozying up, and you get a lot of the comfort foods and soups and casseroles. And this is one of the easiest things to prep. And actually, I've got some stuff warming up right now. So I made chili, one of my favorite meals. First of all, I make the best chili, and it I actually just recently started doing it a different way because we have a vegetarian in the house, and we always have meat in our chili. But I'll make all the vegetables, and so I'll make the soup and broth or whatever you want to call it, and then I have the meat made separately. So especially if you are trying to food prep, if you are trying to be exact on your macros and things like that,
Hmm.
chili is vegetables, right? You got all and you can take your peppers, your tomatoes, your onions from your garden or from somebody else's that you even better if you get to do it from somebody else's garden. And you make a crap ton of this. And it keeps forever. If you want to throw it in your deep freezer and forget about it, you can. Or you can throw it in the refrigerator and it still even keeps pretty darn well. And then you can have your meat made separately and throw in as much as you want. So if you're tracking your macros, now you go, hey, I need X amount of protein, put it in, and I need X amount of vegetables, and you've got it. Same
Yeah.
thing with casseroles. It's a little bit harder to measure, but it's not undoable. But you're mainly taking real whole foods, baking them together, and they taste really freaking good. And you've got your fall harvest meals.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the recipes for that stuff make massive amounts anyway
Hmm.
to begin with. So then it's easy. Like you've already got whatever lunch or dinner done for a couple days.
Yeah, and actually, I really like to start using a lot of those things. I'll make chili omelets. And so throwing a lot of this, dude, food is food, and I feel like a lot of people have some weird ideas about that, about eating this for this meal or whatever, and that's totally fine. But I'd also encourage people to give it a try. Throwing a lot of these, and I mean, just think about that. You got pumpkin pancakes. Guess what they just did? They just threw this weird thing that was like usually a dinner or lunch kind of thing, and they put it in your pancakes, and now you have pumpkin for breakfast. Actually,
Yeah.
that's another thing you can do if you've never done it before, is making like legit pumpkin pancakes with pumpkin puree and some eggs, and you can do some like coconut or almond flour. So if you want to keep it on the low carb side, something like that.
Hmm.
And you can find tons of recipes if you just Google like pumpkin pancakes paleo or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
and you can get the nutrients that you want. You get those flavors that you want, and like you were talking about, using those spices. So pumpkin pie spice is basically like cloves and nutmeg and something like that. Do you know
Yeah.
what all it is?
I think that like cinnamon,
Oh
clove,
yeah,
nutmeg.
cinnamon.
I think that's it.
Yeah. And so now you can start making these flavors, but doing them in a way that is fitting you for long-term health as opposed to going off the rails for the rest of the year.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that like those pancakes, that's basically what the kids eat almost every day for breakfast.
Mm,
But bananas. It's just banana
yeah.
and a bunch of eggs in the blender
Yep.
and then pour it in the pan.
Yeah.
That's what they call pancakes.
And I'll tell you what, so if you do try and make these like bananas or pumpkin or whatever, if you make them just with the like bananas or pumpkin and eggs, they're going to be very almost eggy, like a crepe. It's going to be more like that. But you
Hmm.
can make them be a little bit more fluffy and more like a real pancake with some almond flour, coconut flour, stuff like that.
Yeah. I will say with a lot of the recipes that you find for squash or pumpkin, um, man, there's always a ton of brown sugar.
Mm,
And you can right off the bat, for the most part, cut it in half at least.
mm,
And it's still going to be incredibly delicious.
yeah,
You could probably cut it by three quarters. Like, it's just insane. We
yeah.
made butternut squash last week,
Hmm.
just cubed up, baked in the oven. with some bacon grease, and I think Lisa sprinkled some brown sugar on top. It was dessert.
Right.
Like we literally kept it on the side, and that was like a sweet treat with barely any sugar added. Like that stuff is so sweet already. It's
Yeah.
so good. If you see in the recipes that it's mountains of brown sugar, just assume that you need like this much.
You know what? I actually like that idea of just sprinkling it on top too. Cut it out and just put on enough.
Yeah.
And and I think that that's huge, and it is a big unnecessary ingredient. And yeah, I want you to still enjoy sweet things because
Hmm.
that is fantastic. But um, but yeah, it doesn't have to go in right away. Almost like the meat in the chili. It's like, yeah,
Right.
I want some meat in my chili, but it doesn't have to be in it. I can put it on top, and then I can mix it in, and now you can regulate it a little bit better for each individual person. The same thing with salt, right? I mean, some people like I'm going to be putting in a lot more salt than other people,
Hmm.
and so I don't have to give that to everyone. I can just do it on my own.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite fall food?
Um, Probably, actually, I think it probably will be the chili. So, and um, yeah, I feel like that's my go-to because I can make so much of it because I make it so well. But it's it's sort of my go-to because I'm getting my meat, I'm getting my vegetables, and it's pretty darn good. But I'm trying to think. There's some other casseroles. Oh, you know what? I love taking zucchini, and this is actually similar because it's going to be tomatoes, it's going to be onions,
Oh
and
yeah.
then you take some zucchini and slice that up. You saute it a little bit, and then put in your tomatoes, and you make like a stew, and then you can throw in any kind of meat that you might want, and maybe some Parmesan cheese, and it makes a fantastic. And actually, I like this during the summer too. But in the fall, it makes an awesome like warm stew. In the summer, you can eat it cold, and it's fantastic. It's a great like tomato zucchini cold soup, I guess you might want to call it.
Yeah. It's like almost like a side salad sort of
Yeah,
thing. It is so good. Oh
yeah,
man.
so good. And actually, mom used to make that one like it was basically similar to that, and then putting in like the cottage cheese or not, yeah, cottage cheese. Do you remember that? And it was baked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember how that one went, but very good too. So using zucchinis and stuff like that in that casserole. So find your vegetables, find your meat, put it all um, into a cooking pan, and throw it in the oven. Bake it all up, and
Hmm.
it turns out fantastic.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, there's so many. I am a big squash fan, which I never used to be. When I
Okay.
was a kid, I there was some weird taste that I just did not like,
Yeah.
but now, man, spaghetti squash,
Oh, I love spaghetti squash.
acorn squash,
That's another great
butternut
one.
squash.
I forgot about the butternut or the spaghetti squash.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, so making like spaghetti, and so now throwing in your tomato sauce, and then
Hmm.
throwing in some meat or some sausage or something like that. Making zucchini boats. So you got some of those big
Yep.
fat zucchinis, and you slice them in half. Put in some. Actually, you can almost make it like a pizza. So you got your tomato sauce or pizza sauce. Throw some meat on top, and you can scoop it out. Um, but man,
Josie,
shoot.
our 4-year-old, was just asking for those the other day
Oh yeah, that's
at
awesome.
dinner. She's like, "When are we gonna have zucchini boats again?"
That is so good. You know what? Natalie likes to make acorn squash, and so have some and bake some, and then we'll put like raisins or like cranberries or something like that on top with some other vegetables. Like you can throw some meat in there, and now
Yep.
you have like another little boat, And yeah, you're getting your vegetables, a little bit of starches, and now guess what? You spice it up. So a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, and whatever it is. And again, it's super good. And guess what? If you want to make it sweet, throw like drizzle a little bit of honey. Do it like a chef,
Yep.
right? Don't add sugar like a 4-year old. Do it like a chef, right? And so drizzle it on, and now you might have like a half a tablespoon, which is
Right.
not like it's not nearly as detrimental as the 2 cups of brown sugar in the puree of like sweet potatoes.
Right. Not to mention, you know, generally, as we're talking here, we're talking about dinner,
Right.
not dessert. And like I do not like sweet meals.
Mm.
I do have a sweet tooth, but I don't like sweet meals. So like pancakes and waffles for breakfast, not a fan. I want savory meals.
Mm.
And so yeah, when that stuff comes out and it's like dessert, bleh,
Yeah.
I want some savory dinner. So
Interesting.
make your dinners savory.
I never really thought about that. You want to know? I just thought of another great fall food: mashed sweet potatoes with chipotle. So
Oh
so
yeah.
get like chipotle peppers, and they usually come like in a can with sauce, and then like chop that up because it's gonna roast your face off if you
Oh
don't.
yeah.
But
Super hot.
so yeah, chop it up really small, and then put it in there with a little bit of butter, and so good. And you don't need to put any sugar. It like the sweet and the hot really complement each other without having to be sugared up. And especially if you put butter in it, like everything's great then.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
so yeah, that's another fantastic. And I'll tell you what, there's something about so especially when we're looking at a lot of these foods, a lot of them are a starch, and in um, fitness in 100 words, we got eat meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar, right? But one of the things, a lot of these things um, squash and sweet potatoes and stuff like that. For some reason, you don't eat nearly as many as if it's like a white potato and as if it was a piece of cake or if it was just straight up sugar. And I'm not 100% sure why, but so I feel like they're better starches um, to gravitate towards because it stays with our um, you know little starch.
right. Yeah, and I think there's more fiber.
You think there is?
I think so.
Maybe.
More fibrous.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but those are some of my favorite fall foods and some of the ways to keep the this bulking season to a maintenance phase.
Yep. Uh,
But yeah,
yeah. I think, we've talked about this before with just special events in general, but picking out your favorites. Like we
hmm
said, like if you like the pumpkin spice latte, have one strategically. Like, when am I going to have it? Right? That's what I do with Shamrock Shakes,
yeah,
which now I'm at the point where we just make our own.
hmm
But it would be like, I'm going to have one Shamrock Shake because nostalgia.
right.
You pick the one thing that you want and you enjoy it and then move on versus like pumpkin bread every week all the way through Christmas.
Yeah, it really makes it special.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of like actually, I was talking to somebody recently about Chicago style pizza. So like your deep dish pizza. And I think that most people that I know in the Chicagoland area have it like once or twice a year, or it's when people come into town,
Yep.
and again, I think that it makes it special, you know? And if you just eat that all the time, it's like, all right, big deal, you know?
Yep. I've seen people post that like people outside of Chicago don't realize that deep dish is special occasion pizza and that day-to-day pizza is like Aurelio's.
Yeah. You got your flat, and I want it in squares so that you can get enough pieces. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, if you do the Little Caesars slice, it's like, all right, I need like 6 pizzas for my family now.
Yep.
But yeah, so, all right, fall food, make it good. We're not hibernating, we're getting ready for summer
That's right.
because it's only 6 months away.
That is, I was thinking about that like pumpkin spice starts now and your pumpkin breads. Then you hit Halloween, which we literally still have the girls' bags of Halloween candy in the pantry up there.
Yeah,
You got the Halloween candy, then Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter. And I was like, okay, now we're done
right.
until Memorial Day and then
We
all the
actually,
all the barbecues.
after Halloween, like, so we let them pick out, and then after Halloween, they have to pick out X amount that they want, and then X amount that they're going to save, and we put it in their stockings. I mean, Santa puts it in their stocking. But
That's a
yeah,
good call.
yeah.
Okay.
So then they get it later.
Yep.
But yeah, so there you go. Fall, it's not just about bulking. There's some awesome things that you can be doing and still be hitting your goals. So do that, but better.
Yeah.
All right, I will see you next week, Eric.
All right. See you later.